Our country's school system is the foundation for our children's education. Education is a great equalizer in our community, and your education is something no one can have taken from them. We must put an importance on strengthening our school system and allowing students from various socioeconomic backgrounds to succeed in ways that work for them. The second pillar is increasing involvement of students, teachers, and parents involvement in the courses and policies created. Last, we will discuss the need for increased funding to schools to provide a better education experience. By expanding community schools, resources and opportunities are allocated to students and their parents to improve academic and personal success in and out of school. In New York City, there has been a push to increase the creation of community schools in districts with struggling schools. Community schools are still public schools, but with a focus on providing access to services for both students and their parents. Their longer hours increase their accessibility for programs such as mental health, English language learners, and parents hoping to get their GED. These schools provide a meal for each student and allow access to laundry for families as well. In the most recent budget for New York, the spending was increased for each community school to receive a minimum of $75,000 from the previous $10,000. The outcome of these programs has proven to increase community involvement, student attendance rates, and decrease dropout rates as well. The funding for these programs can be helped by more effective spending of public funds for public education and expanding education spending to invest in our communities. With such community schools providing access to resources and opportunities, these schools could prove to work on a larger scale in cities around the U.S. The high school curriculum and overall learning environment needs to be changed to be better prepared for our youth for their future. There should be ways to cater to students' individual needs so they have the means to explore a prospective career path. This begins with the way education criteria and policy is set. I propose a system composed of two separate groups. The groups would be made up of the Board of Education, and the other group would be made up of teachers. The Board of Education is often removed from the immediate school community, and this causes a disconnect because the policies they are creating do not directly affect them. The teachers added in the decision-making process will better help meet the needs of those affected by policy. Surveys will be sent out to parents and students to fill out the type of topics which they are interested in based on what their teachers are certified to teach. The data will be submitted at the end of the first semester of each year, so there is time for schools to vote about the curriculum they will be offering in this following academic year. Students will be taught general education courses such as algebra, English, geometry, biology, history, health, and physical education. The requirement for further progression in these courses will be based on the other courses that students wish to participate in future years. The benefits to the proposed system compared to the current system give students and educators a better sense of their goals. The system allows students to pick a certain path or to branch out and get a more general education. Having a greater freedom to choose classes which are interesting to them will allow more engagement from students in their learning. Last, it saves students money before attending a university or trade school. These can be great financial burdens if a person decides to change the direction they wish to go with their career. Although this will not eliminate the occurrence, it will probably provide direction for some students. Psychologist William Devin did a study on 1,200 young people, and a quarter of the individuals interviewed felt that they had no direction, with a majority also feeling they had no sense but no way to achieve it. In a small case, it is evident that there needs to be a better way to educate youth while helping them to set and reach their own goals. The scheme is developed that may affect the willingness to change the system because we have done education one way for so long. There is still optimism that these changes will be accepted openly. It is a well-known fact that schools throughout the nation are heavily underfunded. This deficit frequently causes programs to be cut, classroom sizes to be larger, and oftentimes people to lose their jobs. In order to properly develop our youth into a productive member of society, we must provide them with the programs and resources they need. In order to do so, a majority of our tax revenue will be directed to provide another source of funding for our state education program. This source of capital will be dispersed to districts and locations after an extensive study is done on where it is needed the most. Data will be collected comparing the amount of programs and teachers in relation to students, faculty turnover rates, school closings, and graduation rates in order to deem which areas need the most assistance first. In order to properly develop our youth into a productive member of society, we must provide them with the programs and resources they need. In order to do so, a majority of our tax revenue will be directed to provide another source of funding for our state education program. This source of capital will be dispersed to districts and locations after an extensive study is done on where it is needed the most. Data will be collected comparing the amount of programs and teachers in relation to students, faculty turnover rates, school closings, and graduation rates in order to deem which areas need the most assistance first. Once those areas have received adequate funding to get up to par with the rest of the state, equal distribution will be allocated for all schools in order to provide them with the same level of attention and resources. With the proposed changes, the education system will be strengthened to better prepare the youth of our country. The schools will work with students from different socioeconomic backgrounds, and this will make the school a more community-centered place by offering facility use for parents of students and providing a free meal to students daily. The stakeholders in the education system will have more say in the programming they participate in. The students and parents will be able to convey their interest to teachers so they can take that into consideration when developing courses. Funding will be increased to allow for more programs as well. By doing so, the students will have the ability to succeed in the future and give back to their communities. I'm Devin Katie, and I approve this message.